penmanship. That's important. You give them the application. I need to be able to see and read it.
And read it?
Yeah.
And we're back. Welcome to the latest episode of Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Cope.
I'm Waleed.
Hi, Waleed. And I guess we can call this Commerce, Chill, and Save. We have with us today one of the wonderful members of our talent management team, Mr. Dellyn Lee. Say what's up, Mr. Lee?
What's up? It's good to be here.
So glad to have you. Now, why? Let the people know. Why would I call you, say, Commerce, Chill, and Save?
Because I always save the day with my partner.
Ooh.
Save the day as in Save JSB Day.
So save the day as in Save JSB Day because he and his partner, who is the other half of the talent management team.
Well, the other third.
The other third, that's right. They help Johnson Security find great people. I always use the analogy of the business being a bus. We always want to make sure that the bus is running, the engine is going, that we're moving forward in the right direction, that we have the right people on the bus, because if you don't have the right people on the bus, it'll be a hot ghetto mess, and that the people are seated in the right seats. And our talent management team, which is benefits from the vision and the great work of Mr. Lee, help us do that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to give you some tips, ideas, and tricks.
Tricks.
Not trick daddy, but tricks. If you're a business owner and you want to understand how you can be successful in recruiting and hiring the best talent. Does it sound like a game?
So we're gonna give our successes as well as our losses on what we do and what we've been doing to find great people, and even the things we've done that didn't work, so nobody else makes the same mistakes.
Yes, that's very true. Chief, is there anything you want to say before we get started?
We jump right in. I'm sure the audience wants to hear what we got on the table for today, because that's a big challenge with with all businesses, but let's focus on where we are, small, mid-sized businesses. It's always a big challenge to find and recruit good talent, but not only to recruit it, to keep them on the team. So yeah, let's get right into it.
So Mr. Lee, you want to tell the people a little bit about your background and how you came to work with us?
So, pretty long story. So
we only got 29 minutes. So
I'll make it short. So at the time I was living in Tennessee for like about 5 years. I moved down there because I had a business opportunity with SMS Holdings. I was doing the background checks and drug tests with them, and I decided to make a move before all the craziness with COVID happened. So once I made that move, I started applying. I came across Johnson Security Bureau, and I said, I've never been into the security field, but I love people. So I just said, let me just go into the field, see what happens. I came in. Fun fact, I don't know if Miss J or Mr. Cope knows this, but I thought I was going to be late for my first interview because I never been to the Bronx before now. But I made it there a minute early, so
Mind
thank
you,
goodness.
He's from New York, everybody. Let's be clear about that.
But I haven't been in New
people
York
have
for 5 years.
borough bias. Like if you're not from New York, sometimes you don't go outside your borough except if you're going to Manhattan.
Shout out to Brooklyn.
Exactly. But I came across Johnson, got interviewed well, and now I'm here.
Great. So in many instances, the role that you play might be under the umbrella of human resources, but that's not the case here at JSB. It's called talent management. What does talent mean to you in your role?
So talent can mean a lot of different things for different people, but for me in particular, it means what you do good at, what you're best at. So you could be good at talking to people, or you could be good at editing software. It all depends. So it's what makes you at the end of the day.
So how do you determine if someone will be a good team member?
Now,
aside from drug tests and background checks.
For the old general stuff that you need to do to pass, that's good. But when you come in and how you talk to people, how you interact with the staff here and your mannerisms, if I ask you a question like, how's your day? That kind of tone, that kind of energy. You might be having a bad day, but as we go on throughout the interview, you should be able to ease up. So it has to be a good back and forth.
Right. So I would say overall, we probably have a pretty, I'd say, fair success rate in team members that join us from the potential pool of candidates after we do all the screening. What would you say, Johnson, is like the key things that you look for in a team member before we bring them on, not even bring them on, but when they're going through the process to say they meet this checklist of these top 3 things that you want to move them forward through the process?
I look for 3 things. Number 1 is attitude over aptitude. There are people who are very skilled and know a lot, but if they don't know how to act or apply what they learned, then they can, in some cases, be a detriment to the team.
Yeah, wasted potential.
Like the way you put that. So attitude over aptitude. The second thing I look for is communication. How well can they communicate? Do they listen well? Do they answer the questions that I ask? Or do they come in with a set of canned responses and they're going to tell me whatever it is they want me to know? That's not going to work.
It happens from time to time.
I mean, I'm not mad when people practice, but answer the question. Yeah. If you were on a debate team, you'd lose just putting out an answer without answering the question. And then the third thing I look for is transferable skills. So as in the case with Mr. Lee, he didn't have a background in security services, but he had skills that he's able to apply. And he was able to give examples during our interview about past experiences that he had, different accomplishments that he had achieved, and based on what he had learned about our company and our history, how he thought those experiences and those skills would help our team get better. So those are the 3 things I look for, whether it's someone coming to work here, whether it's someone wanting to volunteer with an organization that I may be providing leadership to, or even if it's someone who's coming to do provide a service for me, or if we're looking at subcontracting partners or someone to come do something here in the office, they have to be able to do those things well, just as if they were applying for a job here.
Exactly.
Lee, you're doing this every day. So what are the things you look for?
So the things I'm looking for is the customer service skills. You need to know how to talk to, the person that's interviewing you, anyone that's coming through the door. That's one thing. The second thing is consistency. The things, because we go through a screening process here, with the phone screening, and we could send out a few emails, first round, second round, and, throughout orientation, things like that. So I'll give you an example. If you come in, say I could do Monday through Friday, 7 to 3, I'd be like, okay, then cool. I'm going to set up something with one of our clients and just come together so we can make something work for everyone. Because it's a 2-way street. We're not only servicing our clients, we're also servicing our other client, which is the security guard officers. So if they come in saying 7 to 3, Monday through Friday, and they change, let's say they change that in the second round, I'm going to be like, hold up now, what's going on? Why did you change when you said that you could do A, B, and C, but you want to change it around on us? That can't fly when it comes to setting you up and putting you somewhere, because I have to say something to the client and I can't help you with your needs. So you have to be very consistent. And in terms of the kind of skills that we're looking for security, if you worked in the security field, you need to know how to do patrols, writing your logbooks, things like that. But if you're outside of that field, you need to penmanship. That's important. When we give them the application, I need to be able to see and read it.
And read it?
Yeah, not see and read it, but
I need to see it.
No, see and read it.
It has to be legible, right?
I need to see it.
So if it's not legible, how could the next person that look at your logbooks understand what's going on before they come in? So these are the things that's important. And filling out a full application, you can't leave out anything. It's all about details. Being a security guard officer, you got to be, aware. You got to observe. So if you're not filling out your application, you're not going to fill out the incident report. You're not going to fill out your logs. So those are the kind of things that I personally look for when interviewing a potential teammate.
So let's connect the dots for people in commerce and chill land who may not have security businesses or may even just be looking to start a business and are thinking about what they should consider in candidates once they start to grow their workforce or their employee base. You mentioned consistency. Is there an issue with people showing up and presenting themselves in an interview differently than they show up and present themselves once they have the job?
So that's the thing. You can't really know someone after just a few days through the interviewing process. And that's understandable. Some people show their best selves after 2 months, after 3 months. So that's why it's kind of important to check in with them, see what's going on with them. Check in with them on a weekly basis, a bi-weekly basis, monthly basis, 6 months, and then, the year, just to make sure that who they say they are in the interview carries over throughout their whole lifetime here at JSB.
So would you say that, or rather, how have things changed in what you notice in the candidates from when you started over 6 months ago to now?
It's a good question. So when I first got in, I noticed that some of the security guard officers just didn't really, they just wanted a job. They just wanted a job, and they say, oh, the pay rate's ABC. Okay, I'm just going to come in, once again, beat around the bush with the questions, and I'm just going to get by. Because this is the industry that we're in. So once they step in, Johnson Security, they're going to be like, oh, this is just like any other security place. I'll just come in, say this, and I'll just get the job. No, that changed, over time, because like I said, I haven't been in the industry. So I was trying to learn my groove. Once I found my groove, I was like, okay, this is what I should run with. So just to get back to the question, the way how it changed over time is that once we interview people and tell them that this is a set process, then they start to notice that, hey, this is just not a one interview, I get the job. And then word of mouth, that carries over. And then I talk to the media team about the website, and then we just really push what our values are on the website with the timeline and the history and the, customer service. And then once people keep on coming in saying, oh, I checked out your website, it's amazing, this is what kind of place this is about, then I was like, okay, cool. So once they get in, they was like, this is a very serious job in terms of security. This is just not one and done.
So in essence, it was an education process. You had to be educated about what some of the norms were in the industry. And at the same time, the longer that you're with us, you find that it's important. The level of importance increases in terms of making sure that we communicate to those who may be interested in working with us what our values are. Because if you communicate that clearly, you'll be able to weed out some of the people that may be a potential bad fit. Maybe not everybody, but some of them. And it also helps in terms of building the brand when you communicate those values, the company's story, the company's history. It's more engaging to the people who want to work.
Exactly.
And just for clarity, I talk to a lot of business people, large businesses, small businesses, entrepreneurs, operations people, and they find a lot of what you just said, that people will come in and they just want a job. They could be making 6 figures, they could be making 7 figures, but everyone who shows up and applies for a job isn't in it for the purpose of the work that you need to do. So you need to be crystal clear, especially if it's your business, or if you're in a role to identify and groom the talent within the organization, to understand how to best detect the people that are in it for the real purpose, as opposed to the people who are in it just for their personal profit.
Right.
Chief, what questions do you have for Mr. Lee?
Well, I think it's more not just for Lee, it's for everybody, on the episode today, is dialing back to say, what are things that we do during the recruiting process that we find that are good that end up helping us identify good team members that succeed. And then what are things that we do or that we've done in the past that didn't work that we stopped doing. So, how have we adapted our recruiting process over time so we get better candidates, we get better selection, and we're not wasting time on someone who might not be the best fit for our firm. I'll throw it out to everybody.
That was a whole lot there. But Mr. Lee, I'll let you go first.
That was a lot. So, man, Mr. Cope, you threw me a curveball.
So I'll say this. We incorporate different assessments to gauge people's skill in the industry, as well as to gauge some of the, I hate this expression, but everybody know what I mean, is some of the soft skills, right? And so one of those assessments is a written multi-page document. There's some multiple choice questions. There's some true false questions. There's some short answer questions. And then the candidate has to give a writing sample. And you might say this is way too much for security, Uncle Ruckus type position.
And it's good because we're not doing, we want that. We want someone to think that. The person who thinks that, we want you to think that. We want that to come out during the process because that's part of our process to weed out someone who's not a good fit for the type of work that we do. So we're not looking for the security guard who's just sitting there eating a sandwich and dozing off that you see in the movies all the time, who's the first one to get killed by the bad guys when something goes wrong. We're looking for someone who's going to be giving, as Lee said, a high level of service, customer service, being involved and being aware. Most of our team members are on the front line. And when I say the front line, not the front line like we chasing and tackling bad guys. We're on the front line as they're the first person someone sees when they enter one of these high-end buildings or office building or apartment building. And you want someone there who's going to greet you and make you feel welcome that you belong there, not someone who's greeting you with the side eye and the side of rude, like, what can I do for you? And you're like, oh, maybe I'll leave the building then, damn it. Like, you want somebody to have, that purpose of one of those assessments is to get someone to say, you know what, this is not for me. This company wants me to do a lot for this position.
Well, I was going to say we've had candidates who will actually walk out before they finish completing the assessment.
100%. We had candidates walk out in the after the when we take the lunch break for the orientation.
But before we get to the orientation, we have people that walk out because they don't even have the patience to complete the application. Now you might say, oh, why do you even have them doing an application? Why don't they do it online? Why
they
don't
do it
you
online
streamline?
too?
Yeah. That's all good. I just want to know, when we put somebody in a real situation and they're responsible for keeping people safe, are they going to look for the shortcut? Are they going to look for the easy way out? Or are they going to do what needs to be done to fulfill on the promise that I've made to our clients, and to make sure that the people they're responsible for remain safe? So I get it, but I see people scurry out. Oh, I'm going outside to smoke a cigarette.
Or move my car and they never come back, which is fine. So we do at least 3 interviews. We also use video interview, right? So if you're looking for things to use, we use different tools. We do online application directly through our website. If
connected to all the job boards,
right? You're interested in what kind of things we use, just DM us, put it in the comments. We'll share with you. It's no secret. We use different software platforms. We do a video interview. We do at least 2 face-to-face interviews with different team members. So, and we find that to be very successful because each person picks up on different nuances during each interview.
Exactly.
And it also is fair to the candidate. If they're willing to invest and put skin in the game, when they come back the second or third time, there becomes a level of comfort. Like they get more comfortable. Like they feel like, okay, one, they asked me to come back. So clearly they must be interested in me. So I must be doing something right. And then they'll get a little more comfortable and then you can have a different type of dialogue. Because, well, Lee, when I sit in an interview, I'll tell them in a minute, this is not an interview. We just having a conversation. Let's talk about it. And then we really get a feel for the individual who wants to join our team.
And that really sets the feel for them. So they just, start say, oh, this is the first round. I got to make sure I do everything right. But now the second round, they still are focused, but they're like, hey, I most likely might get the job depending on how I do. So, it sets the tone better.
And unfortunately, we've had some people come for 3 interviews and, not make it past the 3rd interview. But it's part of the process. And some of you out there might be like, well, my business is different. Yeah, I hear you. Everybody's different. Business is different. It doesn't work that way. I have a cafe or a bakery. Like, I can't interview people 2-3 times. Why can't you? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Maybe you're just doing it because that's what you assume is the industry standard, or someone told you that was a standard. People used to ride horses. Now they drive cars. Changes. Like, so if you're going to be the change, or you're going to be affected by the change. So think about it and look at it different. Like, it doesn't always have to be done that way. People told us all the time, it's security. How you doing 2 interviews? Applicants come in and walk out. Like, I'm not going to get the job on the spot. Hell no, you're not getting the job on the spot. This ain't that type of shop.
That shows that, they don't have the patience. And I'd rather have this process just to make sure it's working for both parties, because I don't want to hire someone, put them out in front of the client. Like I said before, they're the face of the company,
right?
And then they do something bad, something
stuff
wrong. And that will show really bad for everyone here at Johnson Security. And that will hurt our chances with getting new business, to get more people in the door and provide more opportunity to people that actually wants to work, that actually have the patience. So I'm fine with this process being like it is, because it takes time to find good people.
Are there any other aspects of our process that you would share with our viewers that you think would be helpful outside of our situation, but maybe to their situations if they own small businesses?
So one of the things that's really important, especially since I've been on the other side of the fence and now, behind the fence, is closure. It's having closure. So many times in this industry, I'm seeing people that apply to places and they'd be like, okay, I'm going to apply on Monday. They get back to me on Wednesday and I haven't heard back to them in like 2 months or something like that. That's, how would that person know if they're like a good fit for the place and go, continue looking for another job? So having that closure and letting them know that, hey, unfortunately, we can't move forward at this time. Thank you. I mean, you could keep on looking at our job boards in the future if something happens, and just take it from there. So to me, closure is very important. So that's why our teammates and I really do our due diligence to make sure we just close it out and let the person know in a timely manner, because it shows good on us. And sometimes they reapply and, they do a better interview and then they move forward from there. So closure is very important.
So let's jump back for a minute before we run out of time. You mentioned that closure is important, which I agree. So what are some ways you would recommend for other small business owners who are out there interviewing numerous people and they agree that they should give closure based on what you said? What are some ways that would be easy or best for them, or good practices that you use for them to communicate with, could be 50, 10, hundreds of applicants who don't make it through?
Okay, so we use a system called Workable, and we track our applications through that kind of process. And if someone is not a good fit, we disqualify them. And the way how we do it here is that every week we reset the job boards just to bump us up in the job boards, just to continue on getting more people.
Little secret for y'all out there: keep refreshing your job posting so it keeps you at the top of the free job boards.
Use the algorithm in your favor.
Exactly. And then on Friday, once I'm about to close someone out and just send out that email, I'm going to be giving them a call saying that, hey, unfortunately, we couldn't move forward at this time, and just keep it 30 seconds. Let them know by email and also by call, so they'll know both ways that, hey, unfortunately, I wasn't a good fit. I could continue my search to the next opportunity out there.
If you're on the receiving end, keep in mind, though, an employer or potential employer or interviewer or recruiter, they don't owe you feedback. Feedback is the cherry on top, and only some people will provide that, because this is a very litigious society. That is, people like lawsuits. Nobody wants to get sued because you didn't get a job.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't.
Just
qualified.
email.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Just
even if you call,
say thank you, it's over.
Right. Even if you call, say thank you, but be mindful of the words you choose. Because a lot of times somebody just doesn't get the position. Like in some cases, we just have so many people apply for a limited amount of positions. We'll get 70 people apply for 3 positions. So some people will get the email or the phone call and it's just like, listen, we just selected someone else. Like you didn't do anything bad or anything wrong. It's just 20 people before you. There was 3 people in the 20 before we got to 55. Sorry.
And we let them know that too.
Right.
So
yeah, I think everybody should just give one thing.
One thing.
When they look at a candidate or a prospective team member, what's the one thing that does it for you to say, you know what, I want to move them through the process or I want to hire them? Just one thing.
You go first.
I asked the question, ladies first.
So that one thing for me would be how that person sees themselves. So if they see themselves as a star, then that tells me about their confidence and how they potentially will perform in the job. If they see themselves as less than, then that suggests to me that they're just getting to get by. And that's not what we want.
Mr. Lee?
I would say good mannerisms. How you talk to the secretary, how you talk to your interviewee, and, just being polite. Those are the kinds of things I look for the first, second, and even after we, hire them, see if they continue that on throughout their whole time, even if they come and pick up their check. So it's just got to be consistent, got to be polite, and your mannerisms has to be good.
My one thing is my gut. When my gut gives me the feeling that they're genuine when they come in, and through the interview process, you just get that good vibe from them, which we all know you don't know until they start working, how it's going to turn out.
Trust me, I know.
That vibe and the person is I'm going to say genuine because you just don't know because we're just interacting for the first time. But their conversation, their mannerisms, the way the interview goes, they're very genuine, and you don't get the impression like they're holding something back or there's some ulterior motive there. So that's it. Someone who's genuine, and my gut signs off on it.
So in closing, I want to leave you with a few quotes to keep you enthusiastic about finding great people, finding great talent for your team. Number 1 comes from Steve Jobs, where he said, "The secret of my success is that we have gone to exceptional lengths to hire the best people in the world." And I'm sure many of you with your iPhones and your Apple products can attest that those products would only come to fruition having the best people behind the scene. The second quote comes from the dream maker himself, Walt Disney, who said, "You can dream, create, design, and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it requires people to make the dream a reality." So, Mr. Lee, in closing, I want to thank you for being a part of the JSB family and for being a part of the talent management team, because you help bring the beautiful people that make the dream of work come to life for so many.